Hey, everybody, this is Stu Smith with another Two Through and After podcast. This is a segment of our Tactical Fitness Report podcast that I like to do with various former operators, and we talk a little bit about their life, what they did when they decided to serve, two, what they did to get through to and through their training, and then what they're doing now after they have served. So we have Nicholas Allen. I don't know if you know who Nicholas Allen is, but former Green Beret. And he is the creator and owner of Lesser Known Operators. If you haven't checked that out, I'll put all his contact info in the description of this video. And you guys got to see it because one, I was on his podcast. I think I was 105 on your podcast, and you're already up to 110, I believe.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty impressive, Nicholas. Thank you for being on.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you, Stu. It's you have, as we said before, people become mythical, and I realize that from some of the people that reach out to me. They're like, "Oh, you know Stu?" I was like, "Yeah, I just sent him a message on Instagram, like a normal person does."
Yeah, that's all it takes. That's all it
Yeah.
takes. Reach out, reach out. I'll respond. So anyway, I really enjoy what you're doing on your podcast. You are interviewing various operators of all types. I have seen and different backgrounds, and it's not too far off from what we're going to do today because I'm going to turn it around and talk about you and ask you about you. And my first question of this podcast always is like, why'd you want to serve, and who were you before you decided to join the military and on into Green Berets?
Well, I guess we start back in the middle of nowhere in northern Illinois, man. I grew up on a corn and soybean field in northern Illinois, just
Hmm.
below the Wisconsin border. Nowhere town, small town, Antioch, Illinois, out in a farm field and poor. And uh, I just kind of grew up. I thought normal childhood. I guess we were poor, but I didn't notice. And I thought I had a great child. I thought that was great. You got all the
Yeah.
room to play in the world and just run around and fuck shit up. So I
Yeah.
thought it was great. But I started like working, and when I say working, like construction, as a grown man when I was like 12 years old. My, so I was this height when I was 12 years old. I was about 5'11" when I was 12,
Uh huh.
and I
How
probably only
much?
weighed 135, 140 pounds. I was
Yeah.
skinny, tall
Yeah.
kid.
Hard
And
gainer. Hard gainer.
well,
So
my
you've been
my
through it.
my grandfather lived down a few towns away, and his neighbor was tearing the siding off of his house. And my grandfather walks over to Keith and he goes, "Hey, do you need help?" He's like, "I got this grandson. He's always looking for work." I was not looking for work. I was asleep. And 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 so he says, "Yeah, bring him over." And my grandpa calls my house. My mom it's like, "You're going to your grandparents' house to work." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So he comes and gets me, brings him be over there. And so I work all day Saturday and then all day Sunday. And then it, he doesn't know that I'm 12 years old. Oh man, it's the funniest thing. We're up on the scaffolding and we're pulling the siding off of the side of the house. And we have gotten right to where his stepson's window is. His stepson's my age. And he's in there just playing video games and stuff, right? And he's like, "So you trying to get a car, or how you getting around?" I was like, "Nah, maybe later when I get to high school." And he goes, "What do you mean? Wait, what?" And I could see in his face the puzzled look of he thought I had a DUI, like I was just a young looking adult.
Yeah, that couldn't drive. Yeah.
I couldn't drive. I couldn't drive. That's why I had somebody drop me off, because I come to find out everybody in the trades, at least everybody I worked with, had a DUI and was an alcoholic.
Damn.
So there was people being picked up and dropped off by their wives or their buddies all the time. So this was just normal. It didn't even register for him
Wow.
that was weird. So I'm like, oh yeah, maybe when I get to high school. He goes, how old are you? And I was like, I'm 12. And man, he ripped that window up so fast and started screaming at his stepson, you better get your ass out here and start cleaning up this fucking mess. And I was like, well, man, I'm glad I'm not getting yelled at because I'm a kid too. I'm like, that sounds terrible. So I just kept working. He paid me for the 2 days I worked. And then from then on, I just started working all my free time, nights and weekends, whenever I could get to a job site. And this was pre-market collapse. So there's work everywhere, construction work everywhere all the time. You could work all the hours you wanted. So, and then I got a car and I was going to job sites and I worked summers, weekends, all my free time until I was probably just out of high school, whenever the market collapsed in like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And just work all the time. And other than that, I was in sports in high school and I was a wrestler.
Oh, okay.
I was really good, but I wasn't really motivated to apply that talent to be great. And so I kind of let it go to waste. But
there's some good wrestling out there in the Midwest.
there was some, down on the south side of Chicago, there's some real good wrestling schools. My junior year, I was doing really well, and I just didn't continue senior year. I would have done really well, seeing as who did really well that next year, but you never know.
Yeah.
All the motivation that I would have needed to do great in high school in wrestling came when I put my uniform on. And that was until I was 22 or 23. Yeah.
Is that when you decided to join the military?
Well, I don't know if you know this, but there's a magical substance called alcohol.
Oh, I've heard of it.
So I started working at an Irish bar when I was 20 years old as a bar back. And I started bartending. And then so everybody that worked at the bar, it got to the point where everybody that worked at the bar lived together. And so it never stopped. So for 2 years, it was a straight party, 7 days a week for 2 years.
Whew.
And until one day I went, I can't do this anymore. And I said, I'm going to join the military. And man, I had the nastiest handlebar mustache because, as a bartender, you're always just seeing how weird you can look you're always working for tips. There's always some angle that you're working or, talking to people. But that's how I learned how to speak to people. Was behind the bar. Now, how I learned how to speak was at the job site. How I learned how to use that speech was behind the bar. And then how I learned how to effectively use it was in uniform. So it was a
really
great
interesting progression.
Everybody should work on a job site as the kid, as the young guy. I mean, the ways people speak to one another is appalling. Yeah. And then behind the bar, well, you're trying to pull money out of people. You're trying to make your tips.
Sell.
And you got to be personable. Like this guy over here, he's trying to drink himself to death, and it's this person's 21st birthday, and it's this bachelor party over here, and all these people at this bar, and you got to navigate all these relationships and these conversations and everything. And unfortunately, this is why things burned out, is I worked at a bar that if they bought you a drink, you drank that drink. So you would have 10, 20, 30, 40 drinks a night, every night.
Dang.
So, yeah. And I mean, you're making them but sometimes they're buying you shots, and there's no talking your way out of a shot. Like you're pouring it from the bottle. You can't fake that. So anyway, that fizzled out. And so I walked into the Marine recruiter and I said, what do you got? He goes, you got tattoos. We can't take you. And I went, all right. And so I walked one door, the partition. So partition over. That's
the way it works. Yeah.
And I went
in a strip mall.
Yeah. Yeah. It was in Waukegan, Illinois, I think.
Yep.
And I said, what's the hardest thing you got? And he goes, well, special forces. And I go, okay, well, let's talk. He's like, did you take the ASVAB? No. So they run me down there, and they didn't take me serious because I didn't look serious. I looked like a goofball.
Yeah.
And they didn't take me serious until I walked out of the ASVAB. And I was like, I got this score. And they all sat up like, oh my God, what?
What? He's a genius.
Man, no. For everybody listening at home, all right, I may be of average intelligence, but I'm smart enough to know in a multiple choice test, the correct answer is on the page. They've already given you the answer. You just have to find three. If you don't know it, you have to find three wrong answers.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm just like Wiley. I go, one of those is correct, and I got to find the most. If I don't know it, I got to find the most correct answer. They've given you the answer. It's cheating.
Yeah.
So if you took the multiple choice point away, I think it would have been a much lower score because there was some. I was like guessing and checking.
And when you don't know anything, just go with Charlie.
Yep, that's what
Charlie out. When in doubt, Charlie out. I think
the math ones were the easiest ones. You would just plug in the answers and see if the equation worked, and if it didn't, that wasn't the answer. So
yeah, that's true.
I don't know if I'm as smart as my score led on to be, but I was smarter than that 4-choice multiple choice test. That's for sure that day. So they set up, and they're like, "Oh, you can do whatever you want." And then they took me to MEPS. And the colorblind test.
Oh yeah.
Well, I failed that miserably. I got a 2 out of 6, and they're like, "You cannot do whatever you want."
Oh,
that was my first.
Does it prevent you? Colorblindness prevent you from going special forces?
Civilian, yes.
Oh, okay.
Enlistee, no. So almost the way they explained it to me, it was. I mean, this
you
is
just
true.
Couldn't do 18 X-ray.
Right, you couldn't do it. I couldn't do whatever, and then it was dropped. The list went down to 2 things, and I went, well, let's do rockets. That sounds fun, multiple launch rocket systems. Let's do that. We signed up, pushed that all through, and whatever. But yeah, so if you are colorblind on your initial entry, you cannot do anything, almost anything in the military. But once you're in, everything's waiverable as long as you're not red, green deficient. And I was like, that's red, that's green. They're like, you're good. So. You can you get a lot of everything. You can get a waiver for everything in the military.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Absolutely.
Remember, somebody was telling me a story that Obama gave a Gold Star father who was in his 60s an age waiver to come in as a doctor, right?
Yep. His son had passed away, and he joined and became a surgeon.
Yeah, he was he commissioned as like a captain or something like that.
Yeah.
A direct commission, and he became a surgeon for going to field hospitals and deploying.
Yeah. I saw that.
Now that's tough. That's a man right there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's impressive.
So there's a waiver for everything. Once you're in, that's the thing, kids. Once you're in, you can do whatever you want, but you got to get in. Yeah. So I got in, and man, the regular.
How long did it take you to prepare to get through BCT? Was that something you actually prepared for, or you just wing it on prior athletic experience?
Well, I was strong, but I hadn't been like keeping up with fitness. I mean, I'm just a kid, so you're wiry and you got muscles, but I think I was 22 or 23. As soon as I signed the contract and got into the queue, I started going to the gym and just kind of running again, lifting a little bit. Still I had no knowledge because they don't teach you anything in high school during the early 2000s. Those gym teachers didn't know anything, and they still probably don't. But so I just kind of was messing, push-ups. I saw what the PT test was push-ups, sit-ups, and running. So I just kind of geared towards that. And I looked up what's the max score. And I said, well, we're going to train for 75 push-ups and 80 sit-ups in 2 minutes, and then a 13-minute 2-mile. And when I wanted to, I thought it was going to be terrible. I thought it was going to be like the movies or like people described in their stories. And the only 2 times I've ever been smoked or punished were at selection the first time and selection the second time. Other than that, I've never been yelled at or smoked or anything like that. Their basic training was just above a summer camp for children.
Damn.
It was nothing. There was nothing hard about it. The hardest thing we did was on a cardio day when we ran. That was it.
Right.
So it was, I arrived with a 300 PT score and I left with a 300 PT score, and it was just a total disappointment from beginning to end. Now I say that my friend, we enlisted together. He went 1 bay over in the other one. They got smoked every single day.
Hmm.
4 hours. So
Oh wow. Yeah.
experiences may vary.
Yeah, that is true. That is very true. So you're in the army now. So where'd you serve first? What cities, bases, and then when did you decide to head over to Special Forces selection?
Here's the beautiful part, Stu. So I found out right away that if you're a high performer, the Army's going to shit on you. So I went to basic. I finished at the top of my class at basic. I'm riding high. And then I go to AIT and I finished at the top of my class at AIT. And I was like, oh man, I'm going to go somewhere cool like Fort Lewis or Fort Bragg, an airborne unit. Where am I going to go? This is going to be awesome. There's an airborne MLRS unit at Bragg. This is going to be so cool. And then they're reading assignments and they're like, Ward, Fort Sill. And I go, oh, no, I have to stay here. So I went, okay, that's the worst thing that could have happened to somebody from going into field artillery. So
What's that, going to Oklahoma?
I was already in Oklahoma.
Oh, you're already in Oklahoma.
Okay, so I was basic training in Oklahoma,
okay,
AIT gotcha. In Oklahoma, and then they said, oh, you're staying here. So I graduated. I just took the van ride up the hill, and they dropped me off, signed out for my leave, and then I went home, got my vehicle, came back, and signed into my unit, went through the in-processing, went out to my unit was in the field, and I said, okay, well, I'll go to a line unit, and I'll learn my job, and there'll be other people like me. I went to staff at battalion, and then I went to S2. And so I didn't even know what that was at that time. And I sat at a desk. That was my job, was to process security clearances at S2. So I didn't go do anything with my MOS or anything like that. So I knew from the moment I got there, I was like, I got to get out of here. And we were in the field. I came out of the field. I walked up to my NCO. I said, I'm going to the library to go to the Special Forces brief. I got to get out of here. And he goes, just do whatever you want, man.
How long did this take? Like, how long were you at
7 days?
No. Before you were out of there.
Oh, it took me 2 years total from the time I got to basic till the time I PCS'd. So I got there in April and I left in May of 2 years later. So 25 months later.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, but you can, they had the little sign, the yard sign on post there, and it said Special Forces brief at the library. And I went after work to the thing. I walked up to the NCO and he said, what's your PT score? I said 300. And he said, okay, sign here. And I signed. And then my orders popped up. The training NCO came over, said, here's your stuff. Go see this person, get your DTS. I had to, learn all this stuff. And figured out what it was. And I went to selection the first time 90 days after I got to my unit. And
that's not bad.
Yeah, it was. Again, I didn't know anything. I'm still a new guy. My feet weren't even broke in yet.
Yeah.
I suffered for that.
How did you prepare in those 3 months? Were you even ready for selection by the time you got there?
Going into November, I was coming up on starting to slow down. I was really good. I mean, PT score was well over 300, and I was rucking in my time that I could, but things kind of went haywire in November. Around November, the Army tried to kill me when I got really sick. So I got some form of strep throat that they couldn't detect with their tests, and so their treatment for it was just to say I was fine. And they sent me home. And so I guess my everything in here got infected. And then I had a staph infection on my throat, on my face, in my mouth, on my tongue, and down on the inside of my throat.
Good
to the point so bad that I couldn't drink or eat for probably I couldn't eat for 2 weeks. I lost all of everything. I mean, I was looking bad. And then it got so bad when they couldn't figure out what it was that I couldn't drink water for several days. And the only reason that they started treating me is because I was so dehydrated, I was hallucinating.
Oh, shit.
And I still don't believe that this happened. But my buddy says it does, because they couldn't get a hold of me. And he's like, man, I came into your apartment and you're looking at the wall watching the football game, but the football game is on over there. And you're like under all these blankets and you're like he's like, I was saying weird shit.
That must have been one hell of a fever.
It was in bad shape. They put 4,000 milliliters of saline in me before I started like not feeling crazy.
Dang.
And so, but that was the third time to the hospital. The first time they said nothing's wrong with you. The second time they said nothing was wrong with me. And they kept sending me to all these specialty clinics. At one point, they diagnosed me with herpes, and it was just a failure at every level. The unit said I was fine because I couldn't get a profile because they couldn't prove anything was wrong with me. So they kept making me do PT and all this stuff. I was like, I'm dying, guys. Like I really, like I would. Do you guys not understand? I was perfectly healthy and like a PT stud, and now you think I'm a shitbag. Like, what do you think happened here?
Yeah.
But I couldn't talk. So I lost faith in the military during that point. The healthcare system, they tried to kill me over what turned out to be a non-illness, but they let it get so bad. So I lost all my gains, all my weight, all my training, everything. So in December, I may have tried to make up that ground once I felt better. And I think I hurt my knee in the process of doing that, because halfway through selection, I walked my knee to the point that I couldn't bend it anymore. And I got med dropped in LandNav. So
Gotcha.
The biggest failure of my life. I will never get over being dropped at selection. And I graduated. But I still,
made it through selection. You just didn't get selected.
No. I got dropped halfway through, and that
hurt.
That hurt so bad. It still hurts.
Yeah.
Like I went back, got selected, graduated, got my beret, all this other stuff. But getting dropped, I felt like such a loser. I felt like because they pulled me out and they said, you're done. And they lumped me in with all the people that quit. And I will never get over that. And
that does suck. That does suck. And I know it's easier said than done, but my advice to people who don't make anything their first time is to don't treat it. I mean, yeah, you can be angry. You can put this in your memory of like, I never want this to happen again.
Yeah, that
type of feeling, but it's also a learning experience. It's not a failure. It's not a failure. It's a learning experience, and you become smarter because of it. Now, what do you do with that? That's the next thing. What did you do with that knowledge of having gone through, not making it, and then taking it to the second time? How did you make that transition to not just give up?
So you get put on details because I had made it halfway. So you stay there till the end. So then you fly back to your unit. And since you were gone the whole time, the people around you, they're like, did you get selected? And you got to say no. And they're like, figure, everybody's like, figures.
That hurts.
Yes. That was the second one. And I went, I can't be here. I gotta fix this.
Yeah.
So I fixed my knee. We got back to normal. I knew now what to expect. So, and I knew I was fine, even being, having only trained for a month after being sick, I was fine in the physical events, the gate week. So I knew, I was like, whatever we did, we're good with that. But now we got to get ready for LandNav. That's the only thing that matters to me. That's the only thing that matters at Special Forces selection, because if you can hit your points, that means you're going to hit your rucks. That means you're going to be able to carry your ruck during team week. You're going to be fine. But that's the thing where you got to find those points. So I just focused on the rucking, and
that's good.
And they taught me everything I needed to know at selection about LandNav. That course wasn't that awful hard. I thought I found all my points when I was there the first time that I got through. And then when I went the second time, I found them all again. But I settled on my back needs to be strong, my grip needs to be strong, and my legs need to be strong. And that's what I worked on. And I just pushed those farther because those were all the three things that hurt the most when I was there the first time.
Yeah. No, that's you used it as a learning experience. It wasn't a failure. You didn't quit. You know, it was a learning experience. That's one of the biggest things I try to coach people is that failures, mistakes, accidents, things happen. You learn from them and keep moving. So good job.
Yeah, it was no, but it was everybody has a bump in the road on their path to graduation,
yeah.
right? And mine was right away. And so, but there was tough times after that and tough points, but that was it. I said, okay, that's never going to happen again. And I didn't let it happen again. And I went back the second time. When I got off the bus at selection, I knew from the moment I got to Camp McCall till the moment he handed me that sheet of paper, I knew I was going to get selected. When I went into the gates, every event we did, I knew I was going to get selected. I knew what to do. And when I sat down with that cadre, I knew that he knew that I knew I was going to get selected. And that's the greatest moment of my career, is getting handed that piece of paper. Nothing equals it. That's
cool.
You show up and you don't know what they want. You don't know what the standard is. There's no public at that time. There was really no published information. There's no Reddit for everything that's supposed to be a secret now. I had no idea what I was going for. I just went and I did my best, and they said, you can come train with us. It's the greatest achievement of my life. Everything after that, the instructors told me exactly what I needed to do to pass. Before that, that's the delineation line where I went, can I measure up? Can I go to the school? And they handed me a sheet of paper, said, yeah. And that was it. Everything after that was easy. I wouldn't say easy, but in my mind it was.
Well, let's talk about that. What was next after selection? When you go through the Q course, how did that treat you?
I went back to my unit, and they said, did you get selected? And I said, yes, I did. And that was the greatest feeling ever. And then I went to Airborne, and I came back with my little shiny Airborne wings. And there was only one other guy on staff that was Airborne qualified, and he teed up the joke, and I made my first leg joke right away in formation that morning. And I got the print upstairs. He gave me a print of guys jumping out of the aircraft. And he was more proud of me. He's like, oh, you're Airborne. He was a big 82nd Airborne guy, and he was happy for that. So that was fun. But at that point, I had volunteered. Somebody said, hey, who wants to do a Soldier of the Month board? And I was like, I'll do that. And this was months before. So I now was in this process. I kept winning these boards. So, now I'm going to train to go to the course. And so I'm winning these boards, and they kind of just let me do whatever I wanted to do, because I was making the unit look good. I'd been selected. They were going on a deployment. So I kind of was let to do whatever I want for months.
Nice.
And it worked out for me, because
that's good living.
It was the path that worked out, right? Yeah. I took advantage of something, and it worked out for me. So there's ways to get what you want, but I feel bad for guys in the regular Army, because I had a lot of support coming from my unit, and they were like, as long as you're doing right and doing the right thing, you can do whatever you want. But guys will just get hammered because their command doesn't approve of them going to special forces or going to selection or leaving the unit behind. So I sympathize. I had a relatively easy path, and from mine, and I was supported. So it was, I got lucky.
That's cool. Now, how tell me a little bit about the Q course. A lot of people don't understand what the Q course is. If you could just explain that part of the journey.
So this is when I went. I think there's been everything moves around.
Sure.
And then it'll come back to how it was when I was there. It's a little different now. Things changed. So I was a junior guy. So I got selected. I went back to my unit. I went to Airborne and went back to my unit in PCS to Bragg. So you sign into Bragg. I'm not an NCO, so you have to go to your NCO Academy or PLDC or Professional Leader Development, whatever it's called for every branch.
And that makes you an E5, right?
You're eligible to be an E5. So now I get to the course, I'm an E4, and then I stayed in E4 for the whole, however long I was, year and a half or something like that. And so you go to So now you're still not in the pipeline or yet, because you have to go to this course to even qualify to be a Special Forces NCO, because that's a big Army regulation. You got to do that. So we went and did that. Now we come back. And at that time there was a phase called, I think it was phase 1. I'm not sure, but it had a name. It was Introduction to Unconventional Warfare. Doesn't exist anymore. There's a something different program, but at that time, from 2012 to 2019-ish, it was basically a second selection, and it was a meat grinder. Nobody knew about it. Even people I talked to today, unless you went through it, they don't know anything about it, because it was rough.
People like would prep. They call it prep in some programs. It's but it's not prep. It's part attrition.
No. It was gates. It was hard gates, and dudes were getting dropped right as the course started. So we went right into that. I think in 1 week we did the 5 mile, the 12-mile ruck, a PT test. I want to say, so we did other things too. We did all the gates again. And
what does that mean? All the gates.
So at selection, you do a PT test. You'll do some unknown distance runs. You'll do some unknown distance rucks. And they're just testing to see if you meet these benchmarks. They don't tell you how far it is, but they don't tell you how fast you went. They just tell you if you're dropped or not. So we just repeated some of those events. We just knew the distances this time. And then we went out and did another land nav course on the NTA on the north side.
And like pass-fail land nav course.
Like, you got to recycle. If you didn't pass, you got to recycle. But it was, I would say it was, to me, it was probably at least 100% harder than selection, this land nav course. So we go out to the north side of Bragg. There was 250 of us that got taken out there, and 50 passed the first night and went home, and then 20 passed the second night. So they recycled 180 dudes. Recycled or dropped 180 dudes out of 250. And then most of those guys got dropped. So it's a lot of people got sent back to the regular Army. Their dreams have been crushed, and they kind of probably had a bad taste in their mouths and a hatred for Special Forces. So we didn't do ourselves any favors in those years by sending ambassadors back to the regular Army that absolutely hated us. Because there was a lot of people in those that got dropped that would have graduated, because that section of the course doesn't exist anymore. Anyway, so after you finish all that, you go into small unit tactics. Small unit tactics is infantry drills, battle drill 1 Alpha, all that. You're down to Camp McCall, and you're learning how to move in squad movements, react to contact, all kinds of stuff, right? And several field problems, and you'll lead a patrol, and you get your go. As long as you get your go, you're good. That was the only phase of the course where I thought I was going to fail the whole time. And so we go out, right? I was the second day of either the first or the second field problem. And so if you're the first day, you have to give the op order, the big op order on the board, and you've got a sand table, and you got an audience, and there's everybody's in there and listening to what you say. That's if you brief the first day. Well, I was on the second day. On the second day, you do it in the field, and you do it to just one of the cadre. So the cadre walks out and goes, you, and you, squad leader, Bravo team leader, Alpha team leader, right? And he points at me, I get Bravo team leader. So in SUT, Bravo team leader, I think I had to do I remember it was so little that all I said was, we're just going to continue with the plan that we briefed in the op order. And then I briefed the plan for actions on the objective or something like that, right? So we make our movement, and we go to the target, and we're spend getting there. And so we set up, and the way things are in North Carolina, I don't know if you've ever been, but have you seen the movie The Hills Have Eyes? Have you been to a trailer park where there's some weird folks running around?
Yes.
Well, those people are out on the training area outside.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're wandering around out there, and they'll steal your shit if you leave it unattended. and they'll steal your brass. They won't take the links, because all you'll find after a firefight are piles of links. All that brass has been gone. It's all already at the recycling plant, right?
Dang.
They clean up the training area better than any unit ever could, because they're selling that stuff. So those people are out there. So in SUT, since you're outside the gates and it's an uncontrolled environment to a point, Bravo team leader, me, has to stay in the objective ORP, the release point, right, with the gear. We would set it all in a nice circle, and then you would sit on the gear and make sure it doesn't get stolen. So we get to there, and squad leader goes out for his leader's recon with the alpha team leader, and they set up, and he comes back, and then they take the rest of the guys, and I stayed back there. So I'm firing up my Chili MRE, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching. I go, oh my God, they're setting up on the wrong road. That's not the correct road, because there's two roads and they were just the slightest of angles, right? And they start setting up on the wrong road, but I can't say anything. I got to stay with the gear, but I'm up on the hill. So I went, oh, I'm just going to sit here and eat my Chili MRE, man, and hopefully get through this. And sure enough, the ambush comes on the other road that they didn't set on. The squad leader sets up the 240, shoots down the line, kills the entire team. It's a massacre. There's arty sims going off, and the cadre was not happy. And so everybody gets pulled together, and he looks at the squad leader. He goes, where are we? And he goes, right here. And he's like, wrong. And he goes to the alpha team leader. He goes, there. He's like, wrong. And he said, he points at me. And so I pick up a piece of pine straw, and I go, well, we set up the ambush here, but we were supposed to set up over here, and that's what went wrong. And the cadre didn't say anything. He just kind of nodded, and then he walked off, and he gave new instructions to the squad leader about where we're supposed to go. And no cadre said anything to me for the rest of small unit tactics. 4 weeks. I didn't get anything said to me. I never got another look. I never got spoken to. I didn't anything. And I went, oh, fuck, I fucking failed this course. I'm going to get recycled. I'm humping around the 240. I'm trying to make myself useful. And I sit down with the cadre on the last day, and the guy flips open this thing. He's like, you did really well. And I went, when? Because I didn't do anything. And he's like, yeah, man, your team played a big part of the team, and you did well on your patrol. And in my head, I went, what? No, I didn't. Like, I didn't do jack shit. I just ate a Chili MRE and laughed in the woods at these guys. Like, I was like, that sucks down there. So another thing I tell people is there's some luck involved in the course as well. Like, you can, there's those guys, the alpha team leader, he got recycled because the squad leader fucked him. But because I was up on the gear and I knew where we were, I was fine. But he got lumped in with this guy who was a doofus. He ended up graduating, and the other guy got dropped. So I was just lucky to be up on the gear and watch and know where we were. So there might be some points in the course where if somebody asks you where you are and you know, it might save you from getting recycled.
That's really important. You know, a lot of luck goes into just little things. I remember one of my buddies was telling me, you know, at going through Hell Week, you know, we do these med checks every night just to make sure you're not full of infections and stuff like that. And so he had this little cut on his arm, right? And the first medic was like, I think you'll be all right. You know, and I guess you go through this line of like medic, doctor. And by the time he got to the like more senior medic and the doctor, they're like, yeah, that's probably cellulitis. We'll give you an antibiotic. You know, it like he didn't have antibiotic, you know, didn't have any cellulitis for all of Hell Week, which is a horrible infection. But he goes, yeah, it was just luck. You know, I didn't have some debilitating infection that kept me from finishing. So yeah, exactly right. Or lick your wounds, man. Lick your wounds out there, because take care of your feet.
Your feet take a bruising. Also, I've seen guys set up in a spot, get up, and then we go sit in the same spot, and the next guy gets covered in poison ivy or bitten by ants and shit. And you're like, what did that first guy stir up that this, you know, like you're switching out of spot. You go, how's it pot? Like, what happened? My buddy, I took somebody's spot and I got destroyed by ants. He must have been laying on them and keeping them from coming out. And then when he got up, they fucking destroyed me. And, luckily we weren't doing anything at the time because I'm out there throwing shit, taking my uniform off. Like what in the fuck is going on? I could have if we were on getting a look, right? I'd have fucked my chance up. So you need to have some luck in all of these phases because
another thing I had was in third phase when we're about a month from graduating, but we're at the island, so you're doing stuff every day. There's no weekend. You're just cranking it out. And bear crawling in these brush. Next thing I know, I got this bite on my forearm. I'm like, man, what the hell was that? Then I look at it and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, turning colors. It was a brown recluse they found out. And I had like Popeye arm, and luckily, they had the right medication for it, or they would have had to send me back to Coronado. And luck matters, man. It really does. So
it does. But you
do make your own luck too. You do make your own luck too.
The better relationship you have with your guys, the luckier you get too. Because I went through the whole course. We were tight. The guys I started with that we made it through IUW and we went through SUT, and then after that you go to SEER. Those were the dudes that I went to SEER with were the like core guys, and we were during the course inseparable.
That's fun.
And we drug each other through every phase because those dudes went to the Charlie course with me, and I knew. So first phase of our MOS phase where you learn how to, your MOS. You didn't.
Yeah, your job.
Your job. It was construction. So I've been working construction my whole life. So my guys, I'm teaching people stuff, and I'm showing them. So not to toot my own horn, but that was the point where I was the best in the Q course because I knew exactly what needed to be done, how to build the things, how to run a job site and everything. And my guys benefited from that.
Nice.
I wasn't so hot in SUT, but they helped me there. Later on in other phases, like we all stuck together. So
that's the way it works.
Yeah. If you got the guys and your boys, it's so much more enjoyable than probably being on the outside and thinking you're sucking,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point because, you do start forming teams out there that are your boys, and you just, you help each other out with strengths and weaknesses, balance each other out, and you got this mechanized unit that can get through things and get stuff done. So now we're getting through the Q course. You got your Green Beret. That was pretty cool. I've been to a Green Beret graduation once. One of my guys got his Green Beret out there, and very impressive show. Big class. Must have been 250, 300 people getting their Green Beret. And it was funny because I go around and meeting people, and there were at least, I don't know, 30 people that were prior Navy that said, yeah, I'm out of the Navy. I'm going to go join the Army, go be a Green Beret. So that was fun bumping into those guys. And yeah,
they do a good job with the graduation. They make it a spectacle. It's very proper though. The Ranger School graduation, man, they make a show of that. There's, the fighting, and they got the rope swing.
Oh, that's right.
All these demonstrations. That's an experience. I want to go to one of those.
Nice little dog and pony show.
Yeah, ours is very proper. There's speeches and you get your dress uniform on. It's very proper.
You look sharp though.
You do. You get a
lot of girlfriends out there in the stands.
Girlfriends, future ex-wives out there in the stands, unfortunately. And it was a cool thing. I don't remember. Oh God, I don't know if I remember. I remember sitting out there. I don't remember anything the dude said. I don't remember walking across the stage. I just remember. Yeah, but
was it just surreal? Is that?
I don't know. I also, now we've got this supercomputer that takes images and uploads it everywhere, so we we almost can't lose pictures now. Then
Yeah.
you had a phone, and if it broke, it was gone. So I wish I had a few more images to be like, oh yeah, I was right there and I was with these people
Yeah.
and things like that. But yeah, it was a surreal experience in graduating. But again, I knew when I got selected that I was going to graduate. So I was like, okay, now we've checked this box. Now it's on to group. So
Yeah.
it was
That's cool.
everybody's
Where'd you
got
go?
the way they look at things.
Where'd you go after Q
Man,
course?
So you graduate, you go into hold, and then we went over. So this is 2014. We went over holiday, and then so in January I had to be out to Fort Lewis, the first group, in
Nice.
Joint Base Lewis McChord, just south of Seattle there, and I signed in. And you go through the in processing again. I was super excited, and I go to group, where everybody's roughing you around. Then you go to battalion. Sergeant Major's like, okay, you're going to Charlie Company. You're going this, blah, blah, blah. So another guy and we go over to Charlie Company, and I sat down with Sergeant Major Coran, and I don't remember anything that he said to us except, can you swim? And I said, no. And he goes, great, you're going to the dive team. And that was all I remember from that. So, and the guy next to me was going as well. So we walked down to the end of the hallway on the left there, and we went to the team room for 1335. And we checked into the team. I was the fourth 18 Charlie on the team, I believe. So the team, in 2015 is kind of when 2015, 16, 17 is like when Special Forces peaked at its size. I think at its size, all of the team rooms were full. All of the teams were full. There was just, and as always, you can't get enough medics because they never make enough medics. There's in high demand. But other than that, the Special Forces was full to the gills. And then it started to crest. And now it's on the decline now, a steep decline now for the last few years. But I was going to the dive team no matter what. That was the only team that didn't have an extra 2 people or something like that. So, I don't have a lot of good things to say about my first team. I would say I went to the worst team in Special Forces, actually. And I went to the only modality of infill that I could not stand. I hated the water then. And now, luckily, now I'm afraid of the water as a result of my time on the team. So yeah, that was in January. I don't remember anything. I remember we went to the range one day. We did a mortar range another day. I don't really remember those. And then this picture here was taken right before we went out to do beach landing seizure training. I'm sure you're familiar.
Been there.
I'm sure you have. I had not. Half of the team had not. We only got 10 guys to go out to do the training, and everything that you could write down that could go wrong about this training probably did. So we had a bunch of inexperienced guys on the ocean and in Zodiacs. More than half of the guys, of the 10 guys, were not experienced on the ocean, including myself. We were supposed to have what size engines did you guys use to break the surf? 55s or 35s?
I think we had. That's a good question. I think we had 35s, maybe 55s. No, they were 55s because they're big. So, I mean, if you were one person carrying it, you had to load it up. 35s weren't that hard to carry.
The dive school dive locker had 2 sets. They had the heavy horsepower and the light horsepower. Well, they were out of all the high horsepower ones for our training. Somebody forgot to reserve them. I don't know. Anyway, we had to use I think they were 35s, and they just were not powerful enough to do what we needed them to do. So we were supposed to have the hard bottoms for the Zodiacs. We had the soft bottoms. We were supposed to have 6 guys. We had 5 guys. It was supposed to be 3 to 5 foot waves. We were in 10 to 15 foot waves, which I don't know. You can help me out here.
Oh, that's huge.
So, that's not even
in a Zodiac. That's not fun. Yeah,
it was horrifying. It was. I even thinking about it now, I go, don't even like remembering the sound and the visuals of the waves. Like the whole boat was on a wave. And on top of, so we went on a little lake. We did a few, trial runs of that. So we just go out on the ocean with 5 guys in each boat. And the plan was to kick out the swimmers and then go wait for the signal, whatever our signal was, right? We didn't go past the surf when we let the 2 people out. We're like, that's too far, because we kept going and it just didn't end, right? And so they're like, we're getting out. So we stop, we like perpendicular or parallel to the shore, kick the 2 dudes out, the strongest swimmers, which were our only 2 divers from the boat. And they start swimming to shore. As we turn to try and find some calmer waters, we just launch like a ramp, like a bicycle up a ramp into the air. So I'm on the front right
in a
of
Zodiac.
the Zodiac, and the boat, so it just boing me into the air, right? And then the boat, the wave washes under the boat falls however many feet. I fall more feet than that because I'm above the boat. So I fall all the way to the ocean floor, onto the boat, onto my face. And I get knocked out. I wake up, I'm in the water, and I'm kind of like looking through the water, and they're trying to pull me back in. And I go, oh, this can't be good. And so they get me in, and the guy next to me hit his head also. So he's kind of out of it. I'm not sure what's going on, but adrenaline just shot immediately. And so he's like, we're going in. We were not going in. The next wave flipped us over, and we're 2 or 3 miles out from shore. And we've got 2 miles of surf to try and get back. So we flip over, engine comes off. It's on the lanyard. And man, we had to learn how to right the boat with 2 people that are concussed and the driver of the boat. He's teaching us how to right this boat in the surf, because we didn't
so hard.
So we get it righted, and we're just getting the shit kicked out of us, right? And so he tries to pull the engine up on the lanyard, and he can't get it. And so I go back there, and I get the boat motor up, and I set it back on the transom, and the wave just washes the engine right into my head again. So we get hit again. And so I'm kind of fuzzy after that, but we got the shit kicked out of us for the next 2 hours, to the point where we couldn't right the boat anymore. We couldn't physically turn the boat over. So we would just drape ourselves over the side, get hit with a wave, get washed away from the Zodiac, swim back, drape ourselves over the side until we got to shore.
Wow.
And so I got 2. I definitely got hit in the head twice. I don't know what the damage was from all of the other times we got hit from the waves and things like that. Because, once you get hit, and then we just kept getting rolled and rolled and rolled again. And then these tiny fucking purple jellyfish kept biting us in the face, which was the most annoying thing at the time.
Yeah.
But it was a minor thing. Apparently it was man-o-war jellyfish mating season. So insult to injury, we're getting bit by these fucking things. We had dry suits on, but it's funny now. It's not funny. It wasn't funny then. So medic grabs me when we finally get to shore, and he's like, you all right? And I was like, no, I'm not okay. So prior to that, I had a minor to serious blow to the head every year I'd been in the military. So this was in 2011, I got knocked out in pugils in basic training. I just took the most hellacious hit. And in 2012, I got hit extremely hard in Combatives 2. The hardest I've ever been hit in my life by the instructor was in Combatives 2, right after I got to my unit. And that was only probably 7 or 8 months after I got knocked out at basic training. And that was in 12. I got smashed with the down pilot in selection my second time through. The rigs went up, and it came back down on the top of my head and drove me all the way down into the sand when we all fell. It was so fucked up. And then I get into the course. I don't know if this one contributed to. I heat catted, but I didn't go down. So I was in that PLDC course, the NCO course, and they were giving us ORS packets, but they weren't exactly teaching us how to limit our intake of ORS. So I took too much.
Yeah,
And
too
so
much.
I flushed my system. And so I'm all white, whiter than I am, like this color white, right? And I'm throwing up my MRE, and the cadre just kind of walks up to me and he goes, "If you fall over, you're out." And I'm like, "Well, thank you for the advice." And but you know, the cadre hut was maybe 3/4 of a mile up the hill, so I am very cold, and I'm gonna go down. And he goes, "Don't fall over, or you're out. You know, you're gonna get sent back to Bragg." And as a student, you're afraid of that.
Yeah.
So I made it. I made it to the hut. I made it in the door. The cadre knew I was coming. They wrapped me in this ice bucket or ice vest. The medic stuck 2 IVs in my arms and brought me back to life. And I didn't deal with heat very well after that day.
Well, that's usually a symptom of concussions.
Yeah.
You start having those issues.
So I don't think that was too healthy for that either, but I made it through it, and you kind of just keep pushing through. So I got 2 concussions out here. I got the shit beat out of me. I got taken to the hospital, scan, all come back negative, no bleeding on the brain, no swelling or anything like that. I'm fucked up. I know I'm fucked up because I've had a lot of concussions. Those were only the ones in the military.
Yeah.
I had, oh my God, bro, when I was in construction, I was working in this kitchen, like trying to make some extra money on a side job, doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
This dipshit took the soda compressor, the 50-pound soda compressor that's in the back. You know, when you hear the machine going in the back, it's an electric motor and it's a small tank, and it's building pressure. It weighs about 60 pounds, and it was hung on the wall right here on the corner of this wall. And the dipshit that was working ahead of me took this thing off the wall, and instead of just setting it on the floor and having the lines hang from the ceiling, he put it up in the drop ceiling, 10-foot drop ceiling on a tile, on a ceiling tile. The flimsy particle board ones. Well, that only held for however many minutes until I worked my way over to that spot. And as I put my drill on the wall, I woke up and there's blood all over the ground several minutes later.
So it landed on your head.
Yeah. Knocked me out cold. I'm big cut on my head. There's blood all over the place. And they come over and I went, "What happened?" I remember being angry. I was covered in blood, and I'm like, "What happened?" That was the worst one I ever had. I lost a lot of time. I was time traveling for quite a while in my life there on that one. And they're like, "Get some, you got to keep them awake," and all this. Everything that we know now is wrong is what I was made to treat that one.
Yeah.
That was when I was 19. So, and I've been knocked out, and I've taken full soccer kicks to the head, hit really hard in breaking up a bar fight. I've fallen off over the handlebars on my bicycle when I was a kid and landed in the street on my head. Anyway, so I get back.
So you've had multiple TBIs.
Right. And here's the crossroads of the whole situation, right? I truly believe I would have recovered if the team sergeant would have just sent me home right then, because the medic said he needs to go home. He needs to go to bed. And the team sergeant said, "No, I don't want to start an investigation. He's just going to stay here." And the next day I grabbed the oh shit handle. I was getting into the TMP to go get some food, and I pulled the door frame into my face. And then that hurt bad enough to where I let go, and I fell off of the step onto the concrete below and bounced my head off the concrete.
Damn, dude.
And I would have recovered from the first 2. I will never recover from the third blow, because that ended everything.
That's a bad one.
So every symptom from every single time I'd ever been hit in my head came back right then. I had this metallic pain in my head, but I was already fucked up. I was starting to get these shooting pains. So they took me to get breakfast. And later they go, yeah, you started ordering, and then you ordered the same thing again. And then you ordered the same thing again. So I was ordering the same 3 items over and over and over again. I had this big bag of food, and then they get me back into the barracks. I started throwing up. They took me back to the hospital, ran all the tests, make sure I wasn't bleeding, and then they ran me home. And I got into bed, and I didn't get out of bed for like 45 days. I was fucked up. I was in severe, severe, severe pain, like shooting pains through my head. I can even feel it now talking about it. And like lightning through my eye going down the back of my spine and everything like that. So after I was finally, dude, I was so fucked up that my first appointment back a month and a half later to the TBI clinic, I threw up at that appointment.
Damn.
So I start sitting down with the regular Army. I'm not on the compound, right? I'm at the TBI clinic, which is separate. I don't know how you guys would have it for you guys, but this is the TBI clinic that services the whole base, right? So I'm not on compound. I go over there, and she starts writing down all of my injuries, because I'm just like, yeah, I got one here, and I got here, and then in basic training and AIT, and I did this and this and this. So she's documenting all this shit. She's done. She goes, "You're going to get medically retired." And I went, "Oh yeah, okay." I was like this, and I got in my car, and I went, "Well, I'm never fucking coming back to this place ever again." And I didn't. I went back to group. I went back behind the fence, and I said, "I'm just gonna." How did your appointment go? Oh, they said just check with the. I don't even know what I said. I just never went back. Yeah. I went to the surgeon, and the commander knew what my situation was. Sergeant Major knew what my situation was, and they never said anything. And I just went to the B team. I was able to go into a support role, and that's where I stayed. And until I ran out of places to go, the only reason I ran out of places to go is because we came down on orders for Afghanistan in 2018, and I could have gone, but I couldn't go. So it was deploy or get out at the time, and I said, "Well, put me on profile, I guess," and then I got medically retired.
Yeah.
So
damn, that is an interesting journey to where you are now. So how are you doing now?
Good. I'm good.
How do you like your new mission?
Oh, I thought all of the good that I was going to do for the military, for my country, for everything was going to be in my uniform, which I still get to wear for photo opportunities, but all of the cool shit that I get to do is in a polo, or it's in a t-shirt and shorts. And it took a lot of work, and I really did not take getting out of the military very well. I would say I took it bad to awful.
It's hard. It's a hard transition.
Yeah. And I
even when it's voluntary.
Oh yeah. It's. I said to somebody at a funeral, I said, there are no words to accurately describe how you're going to feel when you get your DD-214 or when you put that uniform up for the last time, because everybody feels it differently, but it's kind of all the same. And it's the stages of grief, right? You are going through a traumatic event, even though it's regimented and it's a program. There's a transition assistance brief, and you have all of these programs available to you. You're going through a car accident, basically, and you lose somebody. And who did you lose? You lost your service. You lost your resume that you wear on your body everywhere.
Lost your mission. You lost your social group.
Yeah,
I mean, you lost a lot.
So I took that part very poorly until 2024, when I quit drinking.
Oh, good.
And I'm what day is today? 22 months sober today.
That's awesome.
So it is. And that was the catalyst for everything. So I stopped drinking. I started going back to the gym. I started setting goals for where I wanted to be. And so basically what it is now is I'm not tactical, but I am one of the strongest, fittest Green Berets that exists. And that's the only area that I can go in, and I can just be an example with that.
Hey man, Find where you fit in
Yeah.
and make it
Yeah.
and bring others to follow. I think
Trying.
you're doing a great job with that. I love seeing what you're doing. I love
Thank you.
seeing what lesser known operators is talking about, and where you're doing your squats. You should have yelled at me when you were at the Naval Academy doing squats. I'd have taken you around, showing you some cooler things. But
That was a cool thing, man. We made that up, me and the dog, and we were like, let's go do this. And we just went and did it. Last night I was sitting in bed, and this could be the place where I announce it here, but I'm gonna here's what I want to do this year. I want to, if in a perfect world and I find the right large sponsor, the right medium sponsor, and the right small sponsor, and put together everything, I want to squat 500 pounds in 50 states in 31 days for America's 250th birthday.
that is so cool.
So I think so. Last year I did 33 states. I squatted in 33 states for the month of October, or Squattober. And I was thinking last night, I was like, what is something that's ridiculous, that is even more ridiculous than just jumping in your truck? I said, I can squat a lot of weight. So my one friend's like, we need to submit this as a world record. We might do that as like 33 states. So, but I said, what if we set the record at 500 in all 50 states in the month of October? And so
incredible.
That's what I want to do next.
That would be so fun.
Thing. So
why 500 though? Why not just 250? 250 years, you're doubling it.
As far as it goes for fitness. So 500 pounds is, when I squatted 500 pounds for the first time, it was the greatest physical feeling I've ever felt in my life. It was like, I went, I've done more now, and I've done more impressive things that I like to other people. But when I put 500 pounds on the bar, I cannot believe that in my life I was able to achieve something that is unbelievable to almost everyone on the earth and to myself. I said, I hope in my life that everybody can feel this way. I don't care what the weight is for you. It might be running a 5-minute mile. It might be doing a 100-meter freestyle in 40 seconds, or whatever, like some benchmark in whatever sport you're in. But for me, in my career, in my life, when I achieved everything I wanted to do in my life fitness wise. And I said, that was the number in the gym. All of it is secondary to that. So even my next goal is 600 pounds, but to me it was 500. I was like, I cannot believe I got to this point. And I got
cool.
And it took all of these years of ups and downs and getting hurt and going through these schools and losing my way and getting it set back on and never stopping, and all of these little incremental additions along the way. And then, you put it on there and you go, I feel like I am, that quote is like, it's a shame that most men will not see the limits of their physical ability, or whatever. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
When I did that, I said, I achieved whatever that quote is trying to say.
Nice.
And that's to me. That's just to me. Some other people are going to have different things in the quote, but to me, that's it. And that's what it goes for. So it's not the weight. I mean, that is part of it, because social media and advertising and marketing, people want to see a big number.
That's true. That's good.
And part of that is too. So you have to draw people's attention. And if you can do it, go do the best you can, because I might not be able to do this, right? But if I plan for it, maybe I'll come up with something better or something else alternative, and I shoot for that. I come out with something less. Even if I come out with something less, it's still going to be awesome. But that's what I want to shoot for. So
here's a way to finish up that quote for you. Socrates said it.
Perfect.
It's a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable. There you go. Good stuff. Well, I love it, Nick. I think that's a great way to kind of finish this one. I could talk to you all day, though. I do appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing. Yeah, I wish you the best with everything.
I wish the same for you, man. You're still, God, you've been through several generations of special operations guys, and you're still there helping the guys out. And I mean, I'm just proud to be part of the community and proud to know everybody and to see that, you know, the negative parts of our community that get the most attention, that's not what makes up our
No.
community.
No.
I wrote that post last night for that guy, and I went, there are so many solid individuals in special operations that would do anything for you. And
Yeah.
contrary to what you hear in the media or in the news, that's just not true. That's
Yeah.
just numbers wise, that's not true.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a difficult path to get there, and you're going to have to sacrifice some things. Maybe there's a better way to do things than I or some of my peers did, and hopefully people can take some good lessons from the guys who did it the hard way and, you know, used everything as a hammer. But it's a very rewarding thing to look back and say, yeah, I did that, and I did that, and I can do things similar in different fields as well. So hopefully we can all do that together moving forward.
I love it. I love it. Let's keep doing that. So where can people find you, Nick?
Oh man, lesser known operators on all platforms. Instagram's the main effort. Facebook, YouTube. We got a podcast. I'm at once a week right now, but I might go to 2 a week, just stacking up some episodes in the queue. But
Nice.
and then if you believe that you are a lesser known operator anywhere really in special operations, and you want to come on the show and tell your stories, just send me a message. I have a very porous method of filtering the people that I just go, yeah, sure. I don't
Hey, you want to be on my show? Sure. Let's do it.
I don't vet people. The internet's going to do that. If people
yeah.
want to come on and say something, I'm going to air it unless you tell me not to. And just trying to be a positive part of the community, man. And,
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. I love working with Green Berets. I love, Rangers, MARSOC guys, SEALs, all type, PJs. I've had some great experiences with police and SWAT and firefighters, and I just want to help the new generation that is considering doing those jobs. And I've been blessed to be able to talk to guys like you and work with guys like you. So once again, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
All right.